Hi everyone! We've done a lot of drawing and illustration on this channel, a little bit of painting. I'm working on some more in-depth painting tutorials for you all. Today though, we're going to do some collage, and this is something that I like to do from time to time. It's a little bit time consuming, so I don't get a chance to do it often. But today I'm going to take you through my favorite supplies and what I use to do collage. I'm going to take you on a little trip to find some source material, and I'm going to do a collage in my sketchbook and show you how I do it, how I put it all together, and some little tips and tricks. So get comfy and let's go. Hi everyone! So I thought I would take you on a little road trip with me to a couple of my favorite op shops close to where I live. Beautiful location. This is in Emerald, and this op shop has the cheapest books. It's a little bit hit and miss, but it's so cheap that I always pop in if I'm in the area to check it out. And on the way back from there, back to my house, is this incredible little community library. So well worth stopping in here to see if I can find something as well. So the kind of books that I'm looking for when I'm doing collage and looking for things and source material is reference books of animals, nature, anything that's like portraiture, that type of thing. It was such a beautiful day this day. So this is my collection of op shop finds at my house. So you can see I've got a lot of nature books. I've got a stack of magazines there. And then I've got some old like knitting patterns and sheet music that my mum gave me. And then I also have like crafting paper. So anytime I'm running past a Daiso store or I'm in Spotlight, I go and have a look at the crafting section and find like patterned papers because I use these as backgrounds. So I have these, and I keep all the torn up pieces as well because you never know what you're going to use. Got a pack of sequins from purchasing some Pat McGrath products. So I have not used those in a collage yet, but I've popped those aside. And then I just have a little tray that's all the things that I've cut out that I haven't used yet. And generally what I do is when I'm flicking through things, I'll just cut out something that's sort of sparks my interest and keep them aside for a later date. Now here's all my supplies. So I use the self-healing cutting mats. I've got an A5 and an A4 size, just from your local craft shop or your office supply store. I have a very sharp X-Acto knife for little precision cutting. I have this really old, loose, like kids pair of scissors. These are actually my favorite scissors to use for collage. I don't know why, but they're just so old, but I'm obsessed with them. And then any old paintbrushes that are kind of frayed that I don't use for painting anymore, I keep aside and use those for glue. So I use a clear glue like this, and the clear glue I only use with a brush to get into sort of fine areas. And then for larger taping, I use one of these like tape glue dispenser things. I don't know exactly what it's called. And that's the supplies, that's it. So here are the books that I picked up today. And I'd actually been to another couple of op shops yesterday, so this is what I got at those shops. So a nice selection of new, old materials to run through. At first I had quite a big mental barrier about cutting into books, but then I figured I'm giving them a new life and they've already been well loved previously, so I kind of resolved it that way. And what I do is I just flick through until I see something that I like and I cut it out and I put it aside. And I don't sort of go in with a set plan. of what I'm gonna make. I just look at the materials and let them inspire me. And then it's just a matter of cutting everything out. So it's pretty time consuming. One, like sourcing everything, flicking through every individual page, but it's really relaxing. I really love doing collage. And then cutting things out. And it can be quite meditative because you do need to focus, and so it's a nice sort of way to take your mind off other things, because you have to concentrate so much on just like what you're doing. And here's me just cutting the heel, that sort of part between her heel and the sole of a shoe. And I didn't end up using a lot of the materials that I actually purchased over the last couple of days for the piece that I made. But I'll just flick through until I find something that looks interesting to me at the time, and then I'll just set it aside and see if I can make them work somehow. This baby animals book, my goodness, cutest thing ever. Look at these little buns. Obsessed. And the raccoon, stop it. I was also working on a collage commission at this time, so I was looking specifically for cats in books for that. And I'll put a picture of that finished piece up here so you can have a look. I'm stoked with the way it turned out. Now this book on Fiji, when I was flicking through it, it had a bunch of postcards in the front and all these like handwritten notes from people that they'd traveled with. So cute, from 1986. All right, so now I've got some pieces from the materials that I picked up today and yesterday that I'm going to use in my collage. And then I'm just going through all my other scrap pieces of paper and the other things that I'd cut out previously to see if I can make all of those work in one piece. And yeah, it's just, you just need to concentrate, take your time, it's no rush. And my other essential item that I forgot to add, tweezers. Very good for picking up little tiny, teeny pieces of paper. Now here's one of my favorite things about collage, is that you can put it together in a million different ways without having to commit. And you can play around with the way that it looks until you start sticking it down. So I was just going through all my old pieces that I'd previously cut out just to see if anything, like I'm starting to get some ideas about how I want it to look. And I really let the images tell me what it's going to look like. And I'll just usually make a pile of things that I want to try and see if they'll work. And sometimes I'll know for sure that it won't, so they'll go back into the pile for next time. Because one day that will be the perfect piece, and it'll be that last piece of the puzzle that I'll need. So once I'm happy with the pieces that I think will work, I start playing around, and like I said, you just can sort of lay things on top of each other. You don't have to commit to anything because that doesn't happen until you start gluing. So really just go for it. Just move things around in lots of different ways and put things upside down and play with color and just see what feels right. So I decided I wanted to do this in my sketchbook, and the orange just wasn't feeling correct for me. So I started flicking through some more paper to see if I could find something that might feel like it would be a better fit. And I went with this red tissue. I like to tear paper a lot. I like that rough edge and the contrast of that between the precision cutting of the images. So I was just sort of thinking, like, this is sort of starting to get to where I want it, but I wanted to see what it would be like with the red, and I liked that a lot better. So it's a little fiddly, and it's definitely not a cat-friendly project. I can't do collage with the cats in the room because they will cause chaos. I've got so many little pieces of paper around me, surrounding me, and I just cannot get them involved. So when I'm happy with like the layout, and here's my top tip, take a photo of what it looks like, because when you start sticking things down, inevitably you'll forget the placement of one thing, and you might have had it so perfect, and then when you start sticking it all down, you're just like, I can't remember exactly where that piece went. So take a photo and then you'll have a reference. And I also sort of made a mistake here. I had to peel this up a bit because I wanted the lion's head to be underneath that piece. But yeah, if you just lift it up gently, no dramas. This one's just in my sketchbook, no big deal. So I've got the lion's head. I really love hands and lips, and I get a lot of those from fashion magazines. So a lot of my collages have hands and arms and lips. And I've got this little cheetah. And this is how I will glue the more fiddly, delicate pieces, by just literally just painting on a really, like a light layer of glue. You don't need a lot. If you have like thick glue and then you push the paper down, it's going to ooze out the edges, and you don't want that. So don't need a lot to secure it. I'm just going to glue her in there and then continue on with those fine pieces. But the tape glue is really fantastic for large areas and very, very sticky. I love that. I use that a lot when I'm sticking things down. I wish they came in teeny tiny little rollers. I would prefer that to a liquid glue. But you know, it's all good. So I also like adding text to my collages, and I get those from magazines and books as well. So I've got a pile of text with those other images that I'd previously cut out. You can see me using the tweezers there. I've got like these tiny little sets of lips and using the tweezers to pick those up and stick them in. And that's what I created. And I think it's really cute. I like this one a lot. So I highly recommend you just, next time you're op shopping, go see if there's some interesting books, or flick through some magazines at home and start cutting things out, just anything that is interesting to you, and start messing around on the page and moving things around and seeing what you can make, because it's a really, really fun way to do art. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like this video. Consider subscribing to my channel, and I appreciate you so much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.